The much-loved group of heroes from space return after 3 years since their last movie. I never really reviewed the first film on this channel. I haven't really reviewed any of these for that matter. But I really liked the first one. Though not as much as everyone hypes it up to be, it's still a really great film for me. I'll probably get into these older films during the summer. Maybe or maybe not, I don't know yet. Oh yeah, and here's the spoiler warning by the way. It's in the title, but some of y'all don't really look out for yourselves very well, so I got you. You got 3 seconds. 3? Star-Lord dies. Kidding. But I got you, didn't I? Anyways, here's my review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So the Guardians of the Galaxy, Starjock, Drax the Wrestler, Gamma Ogre, Sly Cooper, and Fetus Groot are ordered to protect these butter people's batteries. But then things don't go as planned, they've got to go on the run again, deal with each other's screw-ups, and along the way, Star-Stud finds out more about his baby daddy. I didn't really have any expectations for this film. I've barely watched any of the trailers or TV spots, and some YouTubers I watched that got to see the film early, I live in America, so yeah, we get things late, had somewhat polarizing views on the thing. So I honestly really didn't know what I was in for. The cast members here were stellar. Everyone brings their best to the table this time around. Chris Pratt, Bradley Cooper, Vin Diesel, and Zoe Saldana nail it again with their quippy humor and charming charisma. But the biggest standouts by far, in my opinion, were most definitely Yondu, Nebula, and Drax. The filmmakers did a hell of a job humanizing these alien creatures. They wove Yondu a warm-hearted, honorable fatherly role, and they cleared up on this bald smurfette's reason for obsessing over killing her sister so much. In the first film, I didn't care that much for either of these guys. I mean, I did more for Red Bejeweled Head over here than I did for Nebula, but that still isn't saying much. But here, the screenwriters were able to illustrate her tragedy and why she is who she is, or why she looks, while at the same time building up the relevance and strength level of Thanos in this vast universe, without physically showing violent Shrek on the big screen. And despite not being able to see this could be awesome, wretched, and violent scene, the subtlety adds some flavor to the whole thing. As a result, the sister element for sure was heavily strengthened so that it gave you all the more reason for you to care about these characters. And Drax had probably all of the best lines in this movie. Director James Gunn was able to shift actor David Bautista's strengths and weaknesses around in such a way that molded his character into the funniest serious person on the planet. Well, funniest serious person in the galaxy. Get it? Cause he's a Guardian of the Galaxy? No? Don't worry, I'll show myself out. His insensible and ironic conversations with Mantis and Groot literally got the most laughs out of my entire theater house. I'm serious, someone was almost dying at the front of the theater. They had that hyena seal laugh. I was ready to call the ambulance. And that's saying something when this movie has even more humor than the last film. Oh yeah, and Baby Groot was adorable too. The other new addition to the team was Mantis. She managed to actually bounce off of Drax really well. To me, it was the mix of Baby Groot's innocence and Drax's seriousness that made her the perfect character.
Look out!
The villain here, or I guess villains, plural, were the Sovereign and Ego. The Sovereign were those people covered in pancake butter I was talking about earlier that sought to get back the Anulix batteries from Rocket. It was pretty interesting how these people saw war and conflict. They treated it like a video game. Legit, they were on one of those VR bicycle pods you see at the arcade. I'll get more into them later though. Kurt Russell did a phenomenal job as Ego the Planet. I mean, right from the get-go when Mantis was shown to be hiding something about Ego, you knew that he was actually a D-bag, but the moment when he said, "It broke my heart to put that tumor in her head," I said out loud the same thing Quill uttered when he zoned out of the trance. That twist just came out of left field. Maybe it didn't for you, but I'm oblivious as hell, so... There wasn't as much action here as there was in the first film, because of the bigger focus on more character development, but that doesn't mean the action here wasn't great, because when it came around, it really hit. The action set pieces here weren't necessarily bigger in quantity, but they were bigger in the sense of the physical scale of things. Like the battle against that Cthulhu tentacle monster in the beginning, or the fight against a godlike Celestial on planet Ego. They even managed to shove in a Pac-Man reference in the Injustice transition-like fight scenes. And the arrow scenes with Yondu were just a dream come true. When he finally died at the end of the movie, I was fully invested in him and it was really sad to see him go. I mean, at least they added layers to him and actually allowed us to empathize with him before he departed. They did him right. Unlike, you know who. We also get a reference to Doctor Strange's acid trip in that clip of Rocket and Yondu's facial features turning into an anime and spazzing out. That was pretty cool. And as stated earlier, because of the many compliments the first Guardians movie had for having humor, this one had much more. But not all of the jokes landed. That isn't much of a complaint though, as the majority of them landed for me. I'd say maybe about 1/10 of them I didn't get, or I didn't find particularly that funny. Humor can be a double-edged sword at times. While it does evoke laughter from the audience, it can sometimes interrupt the flow of the story, which occurs in this movie at some points. My other con, I guess you could say, I have for this film is concerning the Sovereign race. They had a significant role in the beginning, but then towards the end of the film, They're kind of just there because the script didn't know what to do with them. They're all just virtually obliterated by lasers in a matter of seconds, and then they're just kind of gone. Well, until the post-credit scene, which I'll get more into in a bit. I feel like they could have wrapped up their role in the story in a better fashion, but that's just nitpicking. It really didn't bother me too much. As far as cameos go, Howard the Duck actually makes a return appearance from the last time we saw him, which was in the post-credit scene of the first film. He was in that robot strip club or whatever. Never expected for him to show back up in the MCU again. I'm assuming that's gonna be an ongoing cameo thing exclusively for the Guardians only, alongside Stan Lee's already obligatory one. Speaking of Stan Lee also makes an appearance here. He's seen somewhere in the cosmos talking to some big-headed bald dudes, and he's credited as the informant of the Watchers. Oh yeah, and the Watchers make a cameo in this thing too. To my knowledge, I don't know what they do particularly, but judging from the wonderful game that is Marvel Ultimate Alliance, that I played 12 years ago, and from their name, I assume they just stand around and watch you. I don't know why, but I got hyped when I saw those soccer ball heads on the big screen. Probably because of the nostalgia from when I saw them in my old video games. I also wanted to add that the conversation Stan Lee was sharing with the Watchers was about his travels in the other MCU films. This lines up with the popular theories that some people hypothesized him to be. So, has he been playing one character this whole time? I mean, he is credited as the informant of the Watchers, so it could be a possibility. Or maybe not, Marvel could just be toying with your brains. Famous action star Sylvester Stallone also makes a cameo in here. He plays Stakar, one of the members of the original Guardians of the Galaxy team, who later show up in one of the many post-credit scenes of this movie. David Hasselhoff, who I commonly refer to as the guy from the first SpongeBob movie with the robotic nipples, too makes a quick appearance here, once as a disguise Ego uses when scolding his son, and again during the credit screen. Out of the 5 mid-credit scenes, by far the most interesting one was the third one. The short scene shows us a cocoon, which Aisha refers to it as the next evolution of the sovereign species. She then names it as Adam, which is a clear nod to the character Adam Warlock. If you don't know his powers and capabilities, just think Vision except on drugs. But the one thing that's most commonly associated with this character is the Soul Stone, aka the 6th Infinity Stone. It was given to him by the High Evolutionary. Don't ask, I don't know him, I'm just reading this off of Wikipedia. And he essentially kicks ass with it. I never thought they'd ever use this absurd looking guy in the cinematic universe, because I mean, he looks like a golden Ken doll. But I guess now it's not absurd because we've already gotten used to seeing gold people now. Who am I kidding? That still looks kind of weird. We've been introduced to 5 Infinity Stones already. The Tesseract, the Ether, the Orb, the Scepter, and the Eye of Agamotto. And Thanos needs all 6 to appeal to his boo-boo. So yeah, this is possibly where the last stone is. Or not, I mean, hey, this dude could sleep his ass all the way through Infinity War and finally wake up in Avengers 9. Ultimately, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 isn't as great as the first film, but it's still a pretty damn good movie. It lacks the coherent flow of storytelling the first one had, but it definitely ups the ante in terms of humor and the physical size of action. There was a cluster load of cameos from various famous people, like this duck, this space dog, but surprisingly none from this obsessive hoarder, and the actors all did a fantastic job. This is a really good film, and I definitely want to watch it again in theaters if I got the chance to. I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 a 91%. At first, I liked this one just as much as the first, but I took some time to digest the film. It's that overhyped feeling I always get right after heading out of a movie. I need some time to think or process it. Anyways, y'all, what do you think about the second Guardians of the Galaxy? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you truly like this video, then please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, consider following me on my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. And for more of my videos, just click right here.